So when a child walks in the door, they're quite unwell when they present with acute leukemia. So the first little part of their journey is actually on the ward in Kookaburra ward, where we start the treatment and we provide supportive care. So often they require blood transfusions, antibiotics, nutritional support, sometimes even pain relief.
And when a child is diagnosed, a family's life just, I'm imagining, stops. What sorts of support do families need in that moment and for the weeks afterwards?
So I think a lot of patients and families come from a background where they don't know anyone who's had childhood cancer. So the first thing to instill in them is good news in that the expectation is cure. So we've come a long way in 50 years from a disease that was essentially a death sentence to now a disease that is highly curable with, more than 90% of our patients survive leukemia treatment. So I think that's really critical to impart on the families in that first meeting, because it is, as you say, an absolute whirlwind for them. Their world is turned upside down, and just to have that glimmer of hope and knowing we have somewhere we're moving to.
So I think we've got really good supports for the families. It's not just the nurses and the doctors. Whilst the bedside nurses are incredibly important, it's the whole team, from social workers to mental health to the therapists, such as the physiotherapist, the nutritionist. So it's a huge team that helps support the families.
So you're working with young children, many of whom are very ill. How does that impact the way you go about your work?
Obviously, you've got to have empathy and compassion, and you need to have a sense of fun as well, because they are kids, and you need to know the latest games. You need to know the latest Peppa Pig or whoever it is at the time. But yeah, so we try and create a positive environment. Try and make it as fun as possible, especially for the littlies, and that includes the kinder sessions and art and music. So yeah, make sure the days are not just filled with, medications and interventions, making sure that we're continuing with their development as well.
The cancer journey is not short. So most children with leukemia receive treatment for over 2 years. And in that time, we are there every step of the way, through illness, through wellness, through hard times, through better times. And we watch them grow as well, because a child that presents at the age of 2 changes a lot by the time they finish treatment at the age of 4 or 5, and then following them through their development and progress off treatment as well. So we're getting to know these children over the course of their young lives until they transition to adulthood.
And how does it feel when a child recovers, like we see with Rafi?
Yeah, that's why we do our job. We see these kids and they're sometimes incredibly sick at diagnosis, but we do our job because we cure most children, and it's incredibly rewarding. And our kids have an end of treatment bell, and there's nothing better than seeing the kids and the families ring that bell.
Oh no!